So what Bronsted and Lowry said was that if we look at an acid, it is going to be a compound that will donate or give a proton, right? See what this definition did? They removed the water completely, right? This definition here, I no longer have to be in order for me to know what my acid or my base has to be, right? So for example, if I put HCl into water, now what is going to happen is that this HCl, right, is going to donate its proton to water to form hydronium, right, and then leave behind Cl minus, right? You can look at the structure a little bit differently. Think about this is the loose structure for this system, and then your water, you have a bend shape like this. I have a lone pair of electrons here, right? What is going to happen is that this lone pair of electrons, because remember, each single line you see, it's made up of 2 electrons. This lone pair of electrons here are going to come in and grab that hydrogen. When they grab that hydrogen, remember, this is made up of electrons, right? These electrons are going to move and donate themselves to the chlorine, right? When that happens, chlorine becomes negatively charged, right? Because it has gained electrons. Remember, Leo the lion says Ger, oil rig, right? When you gain electrons, you become negative because electrons are negatively charged. When you lose electrons, you become positive, right? Because now you have more protons than electrons in your atom, right? So when this happens, just like what we have above, we are going to end up forming, now I have my water, it now has that hydrogen, but formal charges, that becomes positive, and then I have my chlorine, my negative charge of chlorine, right? That is really what is happening behind the scenes. It's a movement of electrons back and forth, right? You see here that this HCl was able to give this hydrogen or proton to the water. So it donated it. That, therefore, it meets the Bronsted and Lowry definition for what an acid is to be. Let me show you why you don't need water to be able to know if HCl is an acid or not. Let's put our HCl into ethanol, right? Ethanol has this structure here. This is ethanol here, right? It has those lone pairs on my oxygen atom. Guess what? This lone pair of electrons on the oxygen is going to come and grab this hydrogen, and I'm going to move these electrons back again to this. So when I do this, I'm still going to end up with, now I'm going to have oxygen here, right? Now the other hydrogen is here, formal charges, this is positive charge, and then I have Cl minus, right? The HCl was also able to give or donate this hydrogen to the ethanol, right? I do not have to be in water, but the fact that it's donating its proton, it means that it's going to be an acid. Let's take a look at what a base then will have to be, right? We just look at the opposite. A base is then going to be any compound, right, that is going to be able to accept or gain a proton, right? Let's look at the case of ammonia. If I take ammonia, and we know that the Lewis dot structure for ammonia is going to be a trigonal pyramidal shape, and then I add it to water, which has a bent geometry, what is going to happen again here is that Bronsted and Lowry are saying that the base is going to be able to gain a proton. So look what happens. This lone pair here is going to come in and grab this hydrogen. Then this here is going to move to the water. In the process, what I end up getting is now going to be something that looks like this. And then my formal charge, right? This is the same thing as your ammonium cation. And then I'm going to have my hydroxide, right? Now I'm going to have, then I have the negative charge over here, right? This is the same thing as OH minus, right? If you look at this, definitely the ammonia was able to grab that hydrogen from the water, gain a proton, right? So therefore it becomes a base. The water in this case, because the water was able to give its proton away, the water becomes what is an acid in this particular example, right?